So without wanting to be too boastful, I've had so many comings out, I think I've kind of lost count. I've actually been vegetarian since I was about 9, which meant having to come out and reveal that particular happening to lots of different family members at lots of different points. That was good practice for the bigger coming out, which the more perceptive amongst you may have suspected already that my first proper big coming out was in my late teens as a gay man. And although to those around me growing up there was little surprise in that particular declaration, then I've come out again. I've come out again a few different times on a few different occasions. Over the course of my life, I've had to stake a seat at the table of a few separate minority groups. I'm gay. I'm an immigrant in the country that I live in. I choose to earn a living as an artist. And I'm proud of each and every one of those isms, and they are isms, because after all, they make me who I am. Yet before declaring my pride at living off a plant-based diet, I feared coming out as vegan might be a step too far to many of those around me. And I worried what people thought. I didn't want to hurt anybody. I actually felt something very akin to social awkwardness and to shame about my veganism. So secretly and almost furtively over the past few decades, I have been dabbling with veganism off and on behind closed doors and always putting off that final commitment and hiding behind more acceptable labels like vegetarianism and food allergies. So, I mean, why I felt such awkward secrecy over being drawn to veganism, I don't know. Was I inwardly even perhaps slightly vegan phobic myself? I'm pretty sure that I'm never knowingly racist. I try very hard not to be sexist, and I'm super conscious not to be transphobic, and homophobia is not even on my radar. But maybe it is possible to be vegan phobic. I did find myself making jokes at my own expense in public to excuse myself, to excuse my veganism. But ultimately, when I did declare my veganism, I had a few mixed reactions. Did I think it was just a phase? Was I doing it just to be fashionable? And yeah, I even got a, "Are you doing this just to upset me?" And that was the first point that it hit me that vegan is the new queer. And once I started declaring my veganism, again, I found myself in this place of having to explain some kind of choice that I'd made. Although realistically in my head and in my heart as well, it was never any kind of choice. I had just simply followed what I felt to a place where there was no option but to be honest with myself. To me, being vegan is no more a choice than being gay or being creative. It's not a choice, it's instinctive, it's who I am, it's a part of who I am. It's neither nature nor nurture, but heartfelt honesty. It's just me. And personally, I was fine with arriving at this point. It made sense. But however, that's not how veganism is seen by everyone. I had the somewhat bleak reality of growing up gay in the working class 70s in northern England, in Northumberland. And yeah, that was a challenge in lots of different ways. There are lots and lots of meat-eating heterosexuals there, and let me tell you, back then, people around me didn't really understand what being gay meant. But that certainly didn't stop them having an opinion or a reaction, although it was something that they hadn't considered in depth or were informed about. My homosexuality was something that they still felt entitled to become very aggressive or jeeringly disrespectful towards. And I know, unfortunately, that is still something that a lot of vegans can relate to. And back then when I first came out, same as now, I felt it was important to be honest with those that I care about, regardless of the upset of others and how others might feel. I can't live a lie, and why should I? If I love you enough to tell you then I'm telling you this not to upset you, but because I care enough about you to include you in my life. So if someone tells you these things, don't disrespect them, don't mock them, don't sneer at them, don't choose to stand violently affronted or judge them. You know, we all demand equal rights and equality, and no part of me is bigger than no part of me is bigger than the whole of me. I'm still the same person, and I still deserve that respect and that consideration. So am I talking now about my sexual preferences or now about my plant-based diet? And actually it shouldn't make any difference. Both are massively and passionately important to me, and without acknowledging these passions, I would be a very different person, and I would be lesser of a person in my own eyes. A big part of what I'm dealing with here is equality, and marriage equality is not that different to menu equality. When family members complain, but I only want you to be happy, or like what they're really saying to you is, you've chosen a more difficult path. And there's just no reason for that to be so, whether we're vegan or queer or whatever. Part of what we all face when we come out or reveal a little about ourselves is dealing with cliches, and there are some quite obviously related ones. You know, vegans are so miserable and unhealthy, and gay men are always so camp and effeminate. Well, no, I disagree with both of those statements. They're both outdated and unnecessary. Fortunately, I have lots of lesbian friends. Unfortunately, they tell me that they are still asked, what do you actually do in bed? Which is a question that runs so parallel in absolute stupid idiotness to what do vegans actually eat. They're cliches. All of them are just boring, unimaginative cliches and are no use whatsoever when you deal or when you're describing or defining or trying to understand people. Another parallel between sexuality and diet that I see is how we're perceived and how we want to strive for acceptance. But if we can't get acceptance, we have to just make do with tolerance from those around us. And my theory on this is because when people don't like how you make them feel about themselves, you're questioning them, but that's healthy, that's a good thing. And in this instance, it's not me, it is you. If my veganism makes you feel either patronized or guilty as a meat eater, sorry, I don't mean it to, but I just have to be honest about my own feelings. If my attraction to members of my own sex somehow challenges your own sexuality, I don't mean it to, but I have to be honest to my own feelings. I am genuinely sorry if my I'm sorry if my choices challenge you, but surely to be challenged is a good thing. Unless you're, as I said earlier, secretly socially awkward or guilty or uncertain about something. I see many comparable issues between coming out as queer and coming out as vegan. Both statements can upset and rock the boats to those around you. Both identities are worth doing that for. If you still feel that there is no link between coming out as gay and coming out as vegan, then I have one more thing that I would like to say, and this always makes me chuckle. I've heard it a lot of when talking to someone who doesn't share my views, I've heard the expression, don't shove it down my throat, a few times. And it just makes me laugh because words can be loaded definitely with a million different connotations. But yeah, my closing argument is vegan is the new queer.